Hello and welcome to I Wrote That, a podcast where we bring authors and industry experts together to discuss all things books. Today, I'd like to introduce Divya Parekh, a #1 best-selling author and positioning advisor combining her years of neuro leadership, writing experience, and positioning coach to help business leaders uncover their potential, build their confidence in their life's narrative, and create authority assets so they can get recognized as trusted in leaders in their industry. She has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, and leaders from a wide variety of industries who are able and ready to play full out. Experience the joy of impacting others and expanding their reach, businesses, and revenue. Divya is a regular contributor to Forbes, CEO World Magazine, and Entrepreneur. Hi, Divya. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Doing well. Thank you so much, Larissa, for having me on your show.
Absolutely. From your, the introduction, you are a very accomplished woman. You do a lot.
Well, it's all in a matter of perspective. When you are looking to help others, things just seem to happen naturally. And especially another thing that kind of comes to my mind is that when you are a continuous learner, you keep on learning. And it's interesting that as you continue learning, you keep on adding to your repertoire.
Yeah, that's so true. And the more people you meet, the more repertoire growing you do. It's very cool that way. And you have a big connection, network. That's how we met, was through networking and connecting through LinkedIn, right? So, tell us a little bit about what it's like to network and connect, about your books specifically. How are you leveraging your books to network?
Great question. So I have come to a point, Larissa, where books have become my marketing tools that work when I'm sleeping. So usually I'm not using my books per se, actively, but I will definitely go back to my early days. I would just take my books, 3 or 4 books, depending on the type of meeting that I was going to. So for example, let's say if I was going for a professionals meeting, then I would have a books more on leadership. And if I was going to an entrepreneur meeting, I would have my books on entrepreneurship. I just take a stack of my books, walk around with it. And it was amazing. And even now, if you just have a book in your hand and you're just walking around with that, in a networking meeting, if you have it in your hand, and sometimes, you can give them away. Sometimes you can just have it as a point of conversation and people would be curious because usually people have business cards in their hands. And then what happens is that people will be like, here you go. What do you have there? And then that opens up doors for natural conversation, just having that organic coffee chat that you'd be having at a water cooler, or you would be talking to somebody that you met at a party. And that's what the book does. It does that job of breaking the ice. Or you can have your book sitting in the background if you are having that virtual networking meeting, because people will. So just like you can see right now, I've got 2 of my books right behind me. And when you have that, people will be like, what is that book about? It's a great conversation starter and it helps you break the ice.
Totally. And I think as authors, we need to flaunt that card so readily that, hey, I did this. Just the confidence boost that it gives you to hold your work in your hand and to demonstrate all of the knowledge and experience and commitment that you put into something so beautiful that you're ready to share with the world and start those conversations, I think is really powerful. So that's very cool. That's very cool. You hit best-selling status. So you have a number of books, and I think, was it 12? Was that your number?
Well, I think so. I'm around at 14, 15, maybe, and I'm writing another book right now, 16th book or 15th book. I've lost count.
Okay. I love that. That's a problem to have. That's great. So in those books, you hit bestseller status somewhere in there. What was that journey like for you?
That journey is such an awesome journey. And here's what I'll tell you, Larissa. My team and I have helped so many authors also become number one best-selling authors. And I have gone on that journey several times myself. And every time I take that journey, I'm on tenterhooks. And that journey is unique because every book is like having another child. And no matter how many parents you talk to, you will find out that they love each and every one of their children. They may love differently. They may have their favorites, but they love all of their kids. So every single time I'm putting a book out or I'm helping another author put their book out where they are just so solid, like, okay, what happens is the journey is actually quite long. The journey begins with the thought of a book idea. And when you're talking about a book idea, it's also about taking a look at, is that book idea trending? And now a lot of people will say, oh, if it is trending, then what do we do? What if it goes out of fashion? What if it's to stay here today and then gone tomorrow? So a lot goes in that book idea, like, is it viable? Is it marketable? Will people look for it? So the whole idea begins of that best-selling journey from that concept and the desire to help your readers achieve a transformation or giving them something that will make their lives better. So best-selling book is not just the journey of going and attaining that best-selling title. To me, it's about serving your reader. It's about the impact. It's about the influence you can have on someone's life. Somebody may not be able to spend thousands of dollars to work with you or hundreds of dollars, depending wherever you are on your journey and what services you're providing to them. They can go and get that $20 book, hold it in their hands, or even get that $9.99 of that digital book, hold it and learn from it. Mm-hmm. So that's where the journey begins. So of course, the writing journey has its own, I always call it a roller coaster ride. Like, some days you're like on top of the world, you have written a whole lot. And on some days you're sitting there staring at that blank screen. And as you continue through it, you go through the editing and publishing and launch. And our best-selling team will go and spend at least 6 to 8 weeks looking at what other books are in your genre. And that's why I said that the journey begins way earlier. Mm-hmm. So how you're doing the title, how you're putting that beautiful cover on that book. Is it jiving? Is it way too offbeat, which will put off the reader? So that journey begins from way early on. And then you come to the area of SEO, long-tailed and short-tail keywords, the area, the world of categories and where those books are and who are your readers and scheduling, Facebook ads and the other ads. And then the journey continues. And then the day of the launch comes. And we have a week-long journey in that. And then if you hit number one, it's such a thrill. And here's what I'll say that you'll probably be like, oh, Divya, you keep on bringing your team over and over again. But I give them the salute that they deserve because they really deserve that. Hats off, because without them, I would not be able to do a whole lot. So far, I gotta share with you, they've never missed a beat on the march. And when you know that you've become number one best-selling author, it is amazing because this is something you can carry with you for the rest of your life. Nobody can take that away from you. Mm-hmm. So it's priceless. It's that journey's. I'm going to go back again, being a mom, sharing that. It's like having another child.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. I just, the way you speak of the phases of a book, it's so much more than just writing. And if bestseller status is your goal, then like you said, you need to start so early on and think like a consumer. What are they looking for? What do they want? What are they going to connect with? But that doesn't have to be everyone's goal. And like I know for myself, when I wrote my science fiction novel, my goal was never to hit bestseller. I knew I didn't have the resources, the time, the commitment it took to get there. My goal was literally just to publish a book. And I did that. And I think there's still so much pride in the fact that there's a book that sits on my shelf that I wrote. And with my second book, I did what you did. Bestseller status was my goal and I got there, right? But like you said, it starts weeks before, months before you actually go to launch and publish your book. And I just think that is what a lot of people don't understand, and why a lot of people choose to get the teams that you're talking about, to hire the coaches, to hire the consultants, the editors, all of these people, the designers that you need if you're going to try and get a status like bestseller. I think that's really, really important to highlight for people. You are working on a very unique project of summarizing books for people. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because I think most of our listeners, we're authors, but we're also readers, and we want to consume as much as we can, as quickly as we can. So can you talk a little bit about what your project is and how you're helping us consume at a faster rate?
Absolutely. So what I think is so important to each and every one of us is abundance. And before we jump into that, I want to share that where that is coming from. So when people ask me, Divya, how could you describe your business in one sentence? So I say that I work with experts and professionals and business leaders to help them become and get recognized as trusted leaders. And people may say, trusted leaders, what the heck is that? Why people need to be recognized as trusted leaders. So here's what I'll share is that developing that confident narrative happens at 3 points. One is your mindset. Second is having your authority assets, which could be part of knowledge and skill sets. And third is the proof. And we can go into details about that. But since you have asked about this project, so basically, it's about who you are. Because, no matter what, you could wear the best designer clothes, you could have the best makeup out there, the best hairstyle, looking awesome. And then you show up. Let's say you're a speaker and you're showing up, or you're getting on a podcast, or you're going anywhere. If you don't have the heart, if you don't have the confidence, things are not going to pan out. So you do not have to be just the external package. And don't get me wrong, I'm not discounting the external package, super important too. But the key is, how are you showing up for yourself? How are you showing up for others, so that what you're projecting and what you want to convey, where you want to match what you're projecting and what is being perceived, is so important. And that comes through by just the very being of who you are, the human being you are, your essence. And how can you create that competitive advantage? How can you have that unfair edge in comparison to other people? Because there's so many people, some people may just go sign up for that mastermind where they're learning at lightning speed because other people are bringing their experience. Now, not everybody can spend thousands of dollars on joining those type of masterminds or having a whole team by their side. So what's the best way to garner that knowledge and create that competitive edge that sets you above everyone else and gets you recognized as that trusted leader? That is through books. Because I'm sure since you're listening to this podcast, you are an avid fan of books, just like I am. So folks, here's what I'll share. My husband and I have always he's like, okay, more books? You ordered more books? So every time a package comes in, it's like, huh? So throughout my house, people call me pack rat as far as the books are concerned. I've got so many books and I did go through it and clean it out. So going back to the question is that who has the time? So let's look at it first of all in terms of times. If you are reading a book, let's say it's a well-written book, for example, Life Force by Tony Robbins, or The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, or The Shift, or Think and Grow Rich, which is a timeless classic. And all these books, you got to keep on reading and then find that distilled synthesis that you create for yourself. So, okay, let's say even if you spend $9 on a digital book. So yeah, you're highlighting, but then you got to go, you got to flip, flip, flip. It's not there in the same place. You're taking notes. You're spending not only the money, but you're also spending so much time to figure out what's going to work for you. So we decided like, okay, we love books. What can we do so that people at a fraction of a time, just 1% of your working time, you could gain that knowledge. You could upgrade your skill levels. So we took the books and created bite-sized, easy to consume content, which is big goal to the heart of the idea. What is the book offering? And you've got everything that you want. So basically what can happen is that you have got audio, you've got an easy read through, it's just 12 minutes. And even if you were to spend 12 minutes every week, think about by the time you're done, 8 weeks, 8 books, phenomenal knowledge, where you would be in terms of your knowledge and skill sets. And that's what we have done. Just a quick sneak peek into it. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's such a neat idea because, you always hear of people's TBRs, and I'm sure yours is very long, like mine is. I have lists of books that I will never get through, but I want to, and my intention is good. I want to read these books. And I think what you've done is you've given the people the way to do that, but also a way to screen the ones that they really connect with. So let's say they listen to one of your 12-minute bite-sized things and they think, oh my gosh, this is so good, I want more. And they go and they pick up that book and they're invested in it and they want to read it, right? And they pick up more from that author, and you weed out the ones that you just don't connect with. Like I've read books that the classic Do Not Finish. I don't connect with them. They're not for me. That's not my messaging. It's not my style. And now I feel like I've wasted that time. Right. And you're really cutting that out for people where they can get that bite-sized 12-minute commitment. That's nothing. That's cooking supper, listening to a podcast, right? That's nothing.
Well, you're right. You're so right, Larissa. And here's the thing, you said it. The part that I really love is that, like, okay, let's say you have access to 100 books, like total of like currently we've got 300 books and we'll continue adding to our list. If you've gone through, let's say, even 20 books, and if you've not connected with it, you don't have to invest in it. And I really like how you said it. Like, yep, you know what? I really like this. It resonates with me. Then instead of me, who has got at least 400, 500 books in her home, you will only probably be ending up with 10 or 12.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's awesome. I want to switch gears a little bit now. We talked very briefly on it when you talked about your competitive narrative, authority positioning for authors. And so specifically, like my niche is business boosting books. So we write a book about your business. From your perspective, and I think we align very closely on this, but what does a book do for your authority positioning?
Great question. It depends on how you've written the book. So let's say, even if you have written the book for business building, or you've written a nonfiction book, if you've written the book which is boring, which is dry, which provides value, but it does not simplify things. So I'm just going to take an example of one of my books, Expert to Influencer, the book that you're seeing in the back. So I wrote that book, first of all, to change how the world thinks of influencers. Currently, the way we look at influencers is like, oh, an influencer is someone who has got 100,000 following, who gets at least 100 likes or thousands of likes every single day. An influencer is someone who puts a product out there and all their followers go, yeah, you know what? I love my influencer. I'm going to go and buy that product. So the way I wrote it, for example, like the subtitle, how to position yourself for meaningful impact. So it gives a sneak peek into what the book is about. So how you're writing the book has a whole lot to do with authority positioning of yours as an author. I've used a lot of storytelling inside the book. I have created characters in there, and these are all real life characters, but you cannot tell which one of my clients it is or which of my colleagues or somebody on my teammate, where it is told in a way that when a reader reads it, they're like, I really connect. Mm-hmm. And you'll be surprised, folks. Well, I get surprised. Recently, I got an email from UK, somebody who's in policy making, not going to divulge their name. And they read my book. I would have thought like, okay, this book is more for people who are in the corporate world and people who are entrepreneurs. But your books can find a way in different areas. And the gentleman shared that it really helped him with how he's looking at people around him. So the authority positioning goes is, how do you want to be seen? So it's not just about the content you're putting out. It is how you're putting the content out there. Are you injecting your personality inside the book or not? Mm-hmm. And for some, you don't have to. There's no one size that fits all. It's not a cookie cutter formula for authority positioning. It's, first of all, thinking about how are you going to serve your reader. At the core of any authority positioning, I always say, Larissa, is how you're going to serve your reader, how you're going to transform their life, how you're going to enrich their lives, how you're going to make them upgrade their skills, or how you're going to help them grow their business, or how you're going to help them achieve something, how you're going to help them impact others, how you're going to make their, whether it's if you're writing about the health. So having that clarity first, how you're going to serve. Then secondly, once you have that clarity, is how you're going to make that book entertaining while establishing yourself as the expert inside the book. So for example, let's say I share in the book where the whole idea is an expert to influencer as to what is my definition of influencer. This has been used before, so folks, I cannot take the credit for it. To me, an influencer is someone who's a rising tide that lifts all boats. So when people are looking at that perspective, they are going to form the perception about me is that like, okay, from this book, what Divya considers an influencer is someone who is driving an impact, who's enriching other people's lives. So what you've done is you've given a piece of who you are without saying anything, because these are your thoughts. Another thing as an author is that you have put your stake in the ground. So stand by it. There may be some philosophies, like, a lot of people are thinking, oh, I cannot conform to this just one philosophy. If you're doing that, then you may come out as looking wishy-washy, that, this author does not know their mind. So there's so many different examples that I could go on and give it to you, Larissa, as to how you can write an authority building book where without talking about yourself, you can establish yourself as that trusted leader, someone who is serving the reader.
Mm-hmm. I want to just absorb everything that you just said, because I think you and I are so similarly aligned. And that's why I value this connection so much, and that's actually what I want to hit on is connection, because you talked about.
Oh, I love being connected to you too, Larissa. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
It's the connection that is going to drive the results and the investment from your readers. And so in the book that I just published of how to write a book, that is one of the first things we talk about is what is your connection point? It actually starts with what is your intent? And I think you talked about that a lot. You want to transform, you want to inform, you want to educate, you want to entertain. What is your intent with your messaging? And then how are you going to connect it to your reader? What is your connection point? And stories, like you said, stories, make it relatable, give testimonials, give background, give texture to what you're saying. I love that you said it's how you write your book, because as a student right now, I do not want to read another textbook. They are so dry. They are so boring. I want to have connection. I want to know the real life stories, the feelings, the emotions that have gone into the lessons you're trying to teach me. And that's how you write an authority building book, is you give people a way to connect to it. Oh, I love it. I love everything you just said. So great.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
And I want to just add one very quick thing to it,
absolutely.
if I may.
Absolutely.
So one of the things is, remember that when I write my books, I'm not sharing that this is for you or for anyone. In my experience, when I write, my whole thing is that I'm writing to that one person who can take that book and transform their lives. Now, whether they come back and invest more in me, or whether they consume my other products or services or not, that's not on my agenda. I'm just writing, how can I transform this person's life? And once you've written that, then you can augment with adding your other information and how you can connect with them and how you can bring them back into your community. But the key is that first draft, when you write, it's only to make your reader succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so true. And I think, I don't start a book without understanding who I'm writing to. Because once you understand who you're writing to, you understand, again, that intent of your message. What is it that you're trying to help these people with and get them through, get them to whatever their goals might be? You are writing to someone in specific. And it's so important to always keep that person in your mind when you're writing, because you will speak directly to them and you will change their lives. Let's wrap up. I want to ask, do you have something that you want to give the listeners? I know we talked about your project. Is there anything that you want to share?
Absolutely. So folks, here's what we are doing is we are taking away the risk where you might be thinking, gosh, I gotta invest, and what if I don't like it? We are offering our book summaries trial for just $1. You get it for a week, and it's 4 times less than a cup of coffee that you would have. And for $1, and the reason we are doing $1 is that, and here's what I'll share that very quickly, is that when you are going through the link, most of it is kept in the transaction fee. So technically, we don't make any money off that. It is just that we want you to make that commitment to yourself. And for the $1, not only you get like 4 books, so that you can experience how this would help you. And outside of that, you do get another free ticket as a bonus ticket to Implementation Circle, because in our experience, as we have done a lot of group coaching and masterminds, I've coached thousands of people over since 2010, is what I've found is that, so many people will go and buy that next new shiny thing, and then it doesn't stick. So our goal is to have implementation circles and challenges so that it sticks. And that's what we'll be sharing. And you can share the link in the notes.
Awesome. Yes, I have it. I'll make sure it's in the show notes and in the social media posts, so you can find it that way. Well, thank you so much, Divya, for coming in. It was a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Larissa.